I said as you claim it. It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling, moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That flash making a portrait. Gun kick back, now grannies from porches. David on the scene, you know that it's scorching. What's a man with king? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot, what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Said what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
What's a man or a king? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot, what said as you claim it. It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling, moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That flash making a portrait. Gun kick back, now grannies from porches. David on the scene, you know that it's scorching. What's a man or a king? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot, what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Said what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Peace and blessings and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. Now, I thought today we were supposed to get information on the PlayStation show. They got a day that they got to do it. But I want to give a shout out to Barris. What up, Barris? You was in here first. Got to give a shout out to Barris, son. Get it, son. What up, Barris? What's going on? I got to shout out to Web Dave. He said he woke up for the show. Blessings, bro. Meta. Meta. That's what's up. Lamont Davis, what's good? What's cracking? Stephen Kennedy, what's going on? It's never too much. It's never too much. Pause. Got to give a shout out to La Supremacy. What's good, baby? And what is that? A Stanley Francisco. What's good? You said you like the intro because of Sable Wolf and Tracer and the Widowmaker? Yeah, listen. I try to put together stuff that's intrinsic to Xbox, what made you an Xbox fan. I'm not an Overwatch dude, but at the end of the day, Overwatch gets busy. And I'm glad Overwatch is included in the intro based upon its resurgence back to dominance in its space. Unlike Marathon. Now, I had somebody join yesterday, and it warmed my heart because he says, and he put a timestamp to it. He left a comment. You know, I read every comment. He left a comment. He said, I could tell console warring. And, you know, and you put your own little voice to it. You put your own little spin to it. Oh, I could tell console warring. He said, and I like it. And I subbed. And I was like, that's what's up. Because everybody knows this is all in good, clean fun. It's not meant to demean, hurt, or bring anybody down. That's just not my content. My content will never be to talk about other people. Even yesterday when I brought up yeah. Now let my girl Olivia speak. Let's get it.
At Brerius507 donated $2 through Super Chat. I'ma send you a DM, King. I need some info from you.
Blessings, I got you. No doubt. You didn't have to Super Chat to say that though, bro. You just send me the DM. I appreciate you. So even when I was talking about Porter Rock, J-Dub, and King Thrash yesterday, explaining how those are the only people that I acknowledge when it comes to this PlayStation space, right? And, you know, somebody put in the comments, they were, well, left me a comment and said, why you bigging up King Thrash? He was just talking about you the other day. My content isn't his content, homie. If your way to feed yourself is to talk about the king, well then feed yourself, baby. I make content for the world. However you use that content is up to you. They make content for the world. I choose not to use their content because their content, I'm trying to raise young men and women to be upstanding, to have some type of morals, to hold themselves with some level of character. Because this is the most dangerous thing that you can have in front of somebody is a microphone and a camera, especially in this day and age. So I try to hold, listen, I'm not perfect. I'm never going to say that I'm perfect, but I try to hold myself to a different standard. So again, if your content is that, knock yourself out, do your thing, baby. I'm not, hey. But then when you ask them the question, well, what did he do to you? That's something they got to take up with God. You heard me? But back to this plastic, though. We're going to get back to this plastic. Now, my man Matt Booty, the shooter, I affectionately call him, is back out in these streets. Now, I thought that PlayStation was supposed to have a show this week. So now PlayStation dudes is counting Xbox shows. This is why I like this level of regime of Xbox. That Matt Booty interview was already done. That Matt Booty interview went out on Wednesday on purpose. They are being as proactive with a killer instinct like you've never seen. It's like somebody realized being nice don't get you anywhere. It doesn't, honestly. You understand? I mean, it doesn't stop you from being a nice person in the world. But even your mama smacked somebody walking in their house, right or wrong, right? It's about your own first. You take care of your own first, and then whatever you got left, you feed others, right? I think sometimes we fail to realize exactly where Xbox is. We thought it was going to be a bad idea. Listen, my man Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer, first of his name, fought a long, hard-fought battle internally, externally. It got to weigh on you, bro. It gotta push you to a point where you like, man, FTW, man, I'm out of here for real. I'm out of here. And then Sarah Bond was supposed to be the heir apparent. She wasn't going to go along with the program. Asha's next up. So again, I told you, you on a sliding scale in that building. In that building, you have a performance metrics and your numbers have to reach the goals. Now, we do understand that apparently they had a return of investment per studio per capita or whoever, however it was measured. The rumored percentage that they had to make back per game or per studio was 30%. Now, they never came out and solidified that rumor, right? But the new rumor is they eased up on that 30%. You know who cares about that rumor more than you and I? Where is it? Here we go. The stock market. The stock market. You know when Microsoft does good, Sony does good? When tech companies that are in the same sectors doing kind of the same thing, one does good, the other one does good. Now, I didn't bring up Sony stock because again, it's for whatever. It's not even worth having a conversation about. But and this is brought to you by Tip Ranks. Now, if you don't know about Tip Ranks, if you actually trade or whatever, or if you want to know how stocks are doing, I highly suggest you go over to Tip Ranks so you can check it out. I'm not being sponsored by Tip Ranks, but Tip Ranks is pretty much very accurate to where projections are going at the high side or the low side, right? And I'm going to show you how to read it really quickly. I don't like to talk money on this channel, but being that a lot of people like to talk numbers and stuff like that, well, I like to give them numbers that actually matter in real life equations, opposed to the numbers that they like to bring up about shipped consoles that really has no bearing on anything. All right, an Xbox deal, a screaming deal, says top investor about Microsoft stock. Now, in the winter months weren't fun for the investors over at Microsoft. The Nasdaq saw Microsoft holdings shrink in value, and it did, and it shrunk pretty good, right? So Microsoft massive increase in capex spending last quarter, $37.5 billion, up 66% year over year, startled investors, especially some with 2/3 went toward short-term assets such as CPUs and GPUs. That fed into larger worries that the exuberant AI spending could lead to a bubble. Remember when I told you Satya was under the gun? All right, so he's under the gun, and I'm just going to get down to this, right? In the spirit of Wall Street as well, 35 buys, 3 holdings, Microsoft stocks soar, a strong buy consensus rated. Its 12 months average price, and now this is what they're estimating in 12 months, what it's going to go from. It's going to hit in 12 months, it's going to hit this $573.41 mark. That's what the assumption is, that it's going to grow. On the lowest price targeted, like the least it's going to do, because the market closed today. Hold on. I can tell you exactly what the market closed today at. The market closed today at Microsoft at $411.22. Sony closed at $21.24. But the lowest projection in 12 months, if it goes belly up, is going to drop down to 392. All right. So the average, they're just being even with it. You're investing, it's going to be 573, up from the 411 that it's at now. But at its highest, if everything absolutely goes swimmingly, the stock price can get up to $678. The reason why I'm telling you this, and the reason why this means something, because not only are we recognizing that Xbox and Microsoft is changing everything, right? They're doing a 180 when it comes to a lot of the AI implementation that the customers weren't feeling. They weren't liking it. The reason why Satya came out and said, hey, man, he doesn't like the term AI slop, because it was absolutely affecting his bonus. Losing, I think it was, what was it, $400 billion? Losing that much money in such a short period of time can actually have everyone up at night. Right? So you got to think about it. It was fluctuating to a point that it fell to one of its slowest stocks that I've seen in a long time. And now it rolls back up into the 400s, the low 400s, but it's going to creep up higher. But the reason why this makes sense, and this is the reason why you see Xbox being extra aggressive. I haven't seen a level of aggression like this from Xbox since Steve Ballmer days and the early years, the 360 years, if you will, right? Those days, Xbox had a level of we don't give a damn. When Greeny was like, screamy Greeny, that's when Xbox actually, to me, was at their finest. And it seems like Asha's just saying, getting back to Xbox, somebody had to say that. Somebody had to say that to her in order, because she wasn't there. It wasn't like she was there, like she was a gamer, like she can actually tell you what Xbox felt to her, but somebody in the building said it that was probably there from the time when Xbox was Xbox, and she used that lingo to interpret that to the crowd. And for all intents and purposes, Xbox seems to be doing all of that stuff. Now, Matt Booty had an interview today, and I'm going to get into the interview, and we're going to pick it apart. We're going to watch it together. So if you just woke up, you don't know what's happening, or you were working and you don't know what's happening, well, the king got you. And the reason why the king got you is because it's my job to help us together. Right? Right? We're doing this together. Now, remember when I told you that Starfield was #1 in certain states and countries, and how the sales numbers were indicative of something that is having some type of resurgence? Because it's an old game. It has new DLC, but regardless to what, it's an old game. But the old game is being introduced to a new ecosystem. And that new ecosystem is the ops. Now, y'all know how I feel about it, regardless to what. I don't even really have to go into it. But we have to get into what the actual sales estimates are. Now, this is brought to you from Pure Xbox and my man Ben Carey over there. Starfield PlayStation 5 sales estimates revealed and compared to other Xbox ports. The high-profile port has a middling start. As much as everybody, and contrary to the video, or well, the live that I did yesterday, I actually turned to a video after the fact, to what numbers on a chart mean. See, anybody can tell you that you're #1 in the country, but what does that really mean? What did it take to get to #1? What does it truly mean? Well, with Starfield being out for a week or so on PlayStation, the folks over at Alina Analytics has provided us with some sales estimates on port's 7-day mark. And it sounds as though Bethesda's RPG is just done okay so far. According to the firm, Starfield has shifted roughly 140,000 copies in a week on PlayStation 5. Now, that 140,000 copies is Hi-Fi Rush in its totality. I think Hi-Fi Rush sold 125. But they're giving you the overall projection of the games that went over there. Starfield is selling faster than Ninja Gaiden and Flight Sim on PlayStation 5. The launch line copies sold for the following games on the PlayStation launch. So we can see here that Outer Worlds 2 sold roughly 60,000. That's not good, right? And then you have Flight Simulator sell 75,000. Ninja Gaiden hit 100K, and Starfield went past that. They're not selling in the millions. And I want to ask, this goes to a larger question, right? Because, you're looking over here, and, in other good news, Alalina report also talks about Xbox because PlayStation 5 success, Forza Horizon 5, which sold 5.7 million copies on PlayStation, whilst Gears of War has passed the 1 million mark on all platforms, 70% on PlayStation 5. Indiana Jones: The Great Circle sales have now reportedly passed the Steam version. So you start to look at these games, and you start to ask yourself, the anomaly, which is Horizon 5 at 5.7 million. It's an anomaly. It's not real. Hold on. Somebody's texting the dog crap out of me. Oh, it's my man Septic Sauce. I got a shipment coming in tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to give a shout out to Cognito getting that Asha package, that stimulus package, Project Helix. Shout out to Cuzzo. Do your thing, baby. That's an anomaly. 5.7 million is a possibility. But then you start looking at Gears of War Reloaded that just passed 1 million. You would thought that Gears of War would be incredible, right? And that's on all platforms with 70% of that 1 million on PlayStation. So giving these titles over to PlayStation really isn't moving the needle. Not in the way that we think. And that's going to force Xbox to fully reevaluate how they see exclusivity. Is the port begging over with? Does somebody in the building put a hard stop to it? I actually think one person puts a hard stop to it. And we're going to get into that right now. Now, I told you, I'm the man of the people. I got the most pertinent parts of the interview. What is this? Hold on, I want to see what this is. Oh, okay. I got the most pertinent parts of this interview based upon how I saw it structured. So I did watch some of it, but I didn't watch and pay attention to it so we can both get some insight on it, right? I didn't pay attention to the interview based upon the fact that I want to see it with fresh eyes with you guys at the same time. So
what has that been like? Who have you seen lately? What have you played?
Well, there's just so much going on. I mean, I could almost like just mentally do the tour of what's going on, right? I mean, we've got things, that have been announced.
Well, what she did ask him, she asked him about the games that they have coming and what did he see? What are the titles that he's looking at? What are the titles that are here? Now, remember, these are softball questions that are coming from Microsoft themselves. He already is well abreast about what is going on, but I got a key takeaway from this that we're going to talk about that I can pull away from this. Oh! Hey! Oh! Now listen to the lovely Olivia talk to you.
At Hollywood Rules 2673 donated $5 through Super Chat. King. Sup brother, salute general. Saying what's up from New Orleans. Fiance took me on quick trip for my b-day #NOP6 keep the boot on Kong's neck.
Happy birthday to Hollywood Rules. You're in New Orleans. We talked about this earlier. Congratulations, brother. Me personally, I haven't been to New Orleans and I would love to go there. I absolutely would love to get some crawfish. Oh, hey, hey. Love the music. I swear to God, I picked it myself. And the lovely Olivia will talk again.
At son_of_vision02 donated $5 through Super Chat. None of those numbers justify single-player games being multi-platform. Yeah, numbers way down, son. Just keep it multiplayer for those bums over there.
I actually agree with you. I actually agree with everything that you said. You know my stance on I would give him absolutely nothing. But that the trial just did us dirty. So she's asking Matt, what has he seen? What's going on over there at Xbox? And this is a basic gist of what Matt is going over with.
Got Mojang with Dungeons 2, so there's that to see.
Yeah, just announced, yeah.
This will be a little bit of a laundry list, but as I just kind of mentally walk the studios, Undead Labs has got the alpha for State of Decay 3.
That's what I was talking
excited
about.
For State of Decay 3.
So that's cool, and it's great to see that they're at that point. I go to Blizzard, and we see all the progress that they've made with Overwatch, which is great. And then at
That's
the end of
huge.
the month is the Lord of Hatred expansion for Diablo 4. Also coming along great. I mean, it's just amazing. Every time I go to visit Blizzard, you're just reminded of sort of the history of Blizzard and also just the kind of the level of art and craft that exists there, which is great.
Some of the best cinematics in the industry.
Yeah, and maybe later on we can talk a little bit about that because it's cool what they're doing with some of our teams, so we can circle back on that. But
So now, Matt touched on something right there that's very pertinent, that Blizzard is working with some other teams over at Xbox. Leveraging tech between studios has long been an idea, and we needed confirmation on this. Now, we know that the coalition actually talks to other studios that actually work with Unreal Engine 5 because they are steeped in Unreal Engine, right? Coalition is based upon all of Unreal. So them having well-versed knowledge in Unreal actually helps out a bunch of studios. But them leveraging other studios to help out in weak areas. Playgrounds isn't known for cinematics. But that's me letting the cat out the bag with that conversation right there. Let's get back to Matt and the interview.
Too much to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about. But so, we've got that going on. Elder Scrolls, they just started their
Now
new
you see why I
approach.
got
They
the
kinda
title
call it
too
the
much.
Season 0
Yeah.
thing, which is great. And it's exciting to see the reaction. It was cool to see some of the Starfield stuff before that came out.
Huge
And
update.
big update. I
Yeah.
mean, really, kind of a
She just fixed Matt right there. He said before that came out. Right? So they're looking at this as a soft relaunching of Starfield. Remember when it was like Starfield 2.0 and they didn't want you to think that lofty of it? But this has been like a soft reboot of Starfield because the numbers on Steam of reoccurring people going back to Starfield is higher than Marathon. Xbox guys that I know on my timeline is in Starfield. And then you have the PlayStation people that they're trying to get past the bugs and stuff like that because they console too weak. But understand they bottleneck, they CPU be choking up. But understand they're in the building as well. But she cleared him up right there. Keep on listening.
1.5 release, really, when you think about it. It's great to bring in new players on new platforms and bring them into the game that Bethesda has built.
The universe, truly.
Yeah, and it's cool to see online, too, some of the things you read where they're like, hey, this might be shaping up now and evolving into being one of their best RPGs in quite a while. So that's really cool to see.
That was a dig. He said, now you're starting to see the conversation switch that Starfield is going to be one of the best RPGs that they release. Why? Because now that it's available on the PlayStation console, a lot of the journalists, a lot of the talking heads are reversing their stance on Starfield. That was a dig. You got to start being able to decipher language of corporate speak. And deciphering the language, that was a dig at journalists.
See, right? And then, we've got things going on across the studio. So there's just, I could kind of walk the list. I mean, seeing the latest that Obsidian's got going on with Grounded 2, the continued work there. You've got obviously all the continued seasons work going on with Call of Duty. Rattling all this off, I guess to bring it to a point, what it makes me think of is just, we have got such an amazing lineup of IP, an amazing lineup of studios. I
told
think in even just entertainment, broadly, it's an amazing portfolio, which is just really cool to see that we've got that. And even some of the things that are going on, even as we think about portfolio extension into movies and TVs stuff, it's great to keep up with that. So
him talking about movies and television, and I'm going to get to the second half of this. I did not, what I don't do is I don't have you guys watch full interviews for no reason. I'm not going to do that to you guys. But what he did talk about and what he did express there was the outside transmedia of the IPs. See, Microsoft is starting to look at their IPs, Xbox is starting to look at their IPs not just as games, looking at them as living, breathing entities that actually can encompass many different facets of whatever the IP is. That IP can actually be fostered into movies, can fostered into TV shows, can be into print media, can actually go into plushies, toys, different ways of extending your fandom on an IP. And they look at that IP and see how that IP can actually live, grow, and extend itself to greater lengths. So him expressing that and talking about that aspect of it actually makes a whole bunch of sense when you look at the Fallout TV show, and the Fallout TV show is actually really damn good. Actually, I'm getting ready to start the next season. I am apologetic I'm watching Darth Maul right now. I'm watching, I just saw the Invincible latest episode today, which actually took my breath away. Probably one of the most engaging episodes that you're ever going to see with Invincible. Every week is a jaw-dropping episode, and this week was no less than that. And I'm watching Daredevil. So again, I'm doing a ton, plus I'm doing Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 as we are trying to finish up that. But we got more to talk about because Matt does touch on Project Helix, and whatever he can talk about, we will listen to.
Talking a lot about what's coming up, but if we look backwards just a little bit and think about GDC, Jason Ronald was at GDC talking about Project Helix and talking about this platform where you get to play your Xbox games and your PC games. So I would love to understand, what does this mean for the game teams? How are they involved in kind of developing Xbox's console hardware future?
Yeah, I mean, one of the really cool things about us as a publishing and game development organization that makes us different from a lot of other big publishers in the industry is that we are side by side in the same org with the hardware team, right? So we, our teams are involved early on with thinking about the visioning, what's the planning, what are the specs, and of course we're there every step of the way as these things come along. So it's an exciting time. It's great to have the news out there. And
Okay, so from what he just explained to you, the developers are crafting Project Helix. Along with the engineers, they're sitting down with the engineers, explaining to them what they need, what works, and what makes sense in a console. That's why you have the direct storage type of thing. I think it's like 4.0 right now, where eliminating load times is actually a thing. Right? Remember before the fast SSD on the PlayStation told you that it would eliminate load times? No. Microsoft and Xbox actually has the real solution to eliminating absolute load times. No longer sneaking through walls, going through areas, hiding and masking your load. This stuff is enticing to see, hear, and know about. Now, he's not going to give you too much about the console, but these little nuggets that he is able to give you gives you a further appreciation for them developing first-party hardware. The reason why he also said, we're making this is letting you know another thing. This console is made in-house. Now, remember on Iron Lord's podcast when I was freaking out and somebody was super chatting a huge amount of money based upon them reprimanding me off of something that I had said? It had everything to do with hardware. Remember when I was saying it's going to be OEM hardware? Yeah, they may have OEM hardware, but I was explained to that they're making their own hardware completely. So again, Matt reiterates this same talking point. So this is the biggest gem that you're going to get from this, other than the next gem that I'm going to talk about. But this, and I highly recommend you go watch this. But Matt explains they're working hand in hand, side by side, inside the same ecosystem, developing, making, and crafting this hardware. And the reason why you're testing your user interface now on Xbox Rock Ally and Windows is because those devices are supposed to be in unison with Project Helix. Project Helix, and she says it in the beginning, console PC. It's a hybrid. All these people that's out here telling you that it's only a PC, oh, hey. Now let's listen to the lovely Olivia.
At Richai Teresma donated $5 through Super Chat. King, did you check out the Godzilla -0 trailer? Blessings, bro.
Yo, I damn near ished myself when I saw it. I thought it was fan-made. I thought that Godzilla -1 trailer was fake until I had to go to multiple real confirmed sources. I went to Toho themselves. I can't wait. And then you have King Kong versus Godzilla 3. I can't wait. And I'm watching that Apple TV Monarch series. I can't wait. I'm a huge Godzilla fan. But getting back to Matt letting the cat out the bag, letting you know that they have first-party hardware that's coming from them and not OEM. So anybody running with that narrative has been shot down, confirmed by Matt. This is a very important interview. On the day that you're supposed to get PlayStation's going to have a show,
be announced. And as we've done with many consoles before, those two teams will work hand in hand as we get that together. And as the hardware comes online, our teams will be the first to get involved. And there's already a lot of that already happening. But that is, I think, where Xbox really shines and where we stand apart, and what makes, shows off what's unique about us, both as a platform and as a, set of game development studios, is when we come together. And the announcement of Project Helix it was an exciting moment to kind of showcase that.
Yeah, I'm sure exciting for people to just start briefly talking about it as we continue to reveal more there. And we've talked a lot about the studio talent development.
and that's where I left that off at. Now, one of the things that Matt touched on in that interview was that Fable was getting help from Blizzard. And in a sense that Diablo team is second to none crafting full motion cinemas that actually make sense, CGI cinemas. And they look great. And lending talent in between studios is ensuring that that title reaches the lofty expectations that they have for it. Because remember, we had internal talks or supposed internal talks about Fable missing their days. Anytime Xbox is on a roll, you're going to have detractors come out to try to derail it. And that's based upon the level of hate and Xbox taxes in the building. Well, not Xbox building, outside. And you know which building I'm talking about. It's kind of blue. But that came out, it was rebuffed. Fable Studios, Playground Games, came out and said, can't wait for you to see you in Albion this fall. Just shut up and let us cook. And that level of clapback is respected, noted, and it just refreshing. When a lot of times we were left to speculate, try to figure out where Xbox is going. What are they doing? Are they making hardware? Are they doing this? And that led to a whole bunch of confusion. When you interject confusion into a group, they're easily manipulated by outside entities that don't have your well-being at heart. And half of these dudes don't. Like, you can go to People Channel and you can actually see them actually having fun talking about, well, PlayStation shipped. Well, they'd say sold. PlayStation sold 90 million and Xbox only sold 25. And I don't know, like they've been stuck on 25 since the first 2 years. And that's what I don't like. But you know what I don't like more? I don't like former Xbox or Microsoft employees talking crap about Xbox. Shohei hasn't said anything bad about Sony. Sean Layden hasn't said anything bad about Sony. Jack Tritton hasn't said anything bad about Sony. Everybody that leaves Sony haven't said a bad thing at all. I don't know what type of iron rule those guys got. They could be treated bad. Sean Layden keycard. He was police escorted out of the building. Allegedly. From what I heard. And that man is still ride or die blue. Anytime Game Pass, man, I don't even know about Game Pass, man. That's him. working for 10 cents. So it hurts my heart seeing this. Xbox co-creator says he's more interested in what's next for Nintendo rather than Microsoft, as everything from Nintendo is really interesting and cool. How the fuck was this interesting and cool? How was this interesting and cool? It's a bigger, blacker version than the last one. How is this interesting and cool? I think this was the safest device that Nintendo could have ever came out with. I think out of all the next devices, that is, I didn't assume that that would be the next wave. So my assumption is the Switch 3, when it'll come out in 2040, would be the same exact thing with an ARM CPU or just something else. Just the same thing. Same exact thing. But I gotta give this. There's no secret that Microsoft is working on the next Xbox. And the next Xbox is setting the trend. The next Xbox is going to be revolutionary when it comes to a console. And what they're leveraging, what they're doing with the tech inside, with the user interface, with everything that they're working on is going to be revolutionary. And you know Mr. Me Too in the face that don't have that much money is going to try to copy what they did. But you have Mr. Blackley, the co-creator of the original Xbox. And I got to give a shout out to the Xbox expansion pass. My man Luke Law, who has the interview. I mean, my man is in these streets. And if you let the guests talk long enough, they'll talk themselves into a hole. We have no clue as to what device will offer, and there's a ton yet to learn, but someone from the Xbox history doesn't seem at all interested in the Helix. This is what he says. I don't know as a developer what I'm excited about, and I don't know as a gamer what I'm excited about. I'm vastly more excited about Steam than about Helix. Just tell me where they touched you. Just tell me why you mad. As a gamer, from the content standpoint, as I think everyone would be, or what's Switch 3 going to be? So you're just going to bypass the fact that the Switch 1 just came out. It ain't going to be shit. Because it ain't nowhere close. Ever. But is this conversation, is this level of, damn it, man, serious? You too? You too? It's like, I don't understand and I can't get a grip, pause, on what the hell is going over on Xbox and Microsoft that these guys feel such a way or feel such, it has to be the culture. It has to be Western culture versus Eastern culture. It has to be. Being in Japan, I realized, hold on. Coconut water. I realized, and if your coconut water doesn't look like this or pink, not good. And on the can, well, just make sure it's a can. Make sure it's a can or a bottle. And it says 100% only coconut water. That's the only thing that they pour in there. And somebody asked me if I was taking mineral salt. Yeah, I take mineral salt in my water. When I was in Japan, I realized how respectful, how the society works together. And this society here, Western culture, is some of the most backstabbing, entitled that I've ever seen. And I'm not saying that they have a perfect culture over there in the eastern side of the world. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, and I have this level of respect for any job that I've ever worked at, even if I got fired. Even if I got fired. Any job that I worked at, I was appreciative the day that I got the job to the day that I no longer worked there. And you won't find me saying bad things. And it extends to your relationships. It extends to every aspect of your life. Right? That level of loyalty, respect, and remembering the moment you got the opportunity. See, because it all boils down to the moment that you got the opportunity and what that opportunity provided for you. And I think in Western culture, they lose sight of this. Because remember, at the end of the day, the big three, two are Eastern companies. Bounty. Member for 25 months. No honor. They just all about the money. I honestly believe so. I honestly believe so. Because there's absolutely no way in hell you're going to tell me that all the conversation is coming from the one company out of the three that is based here in the West. And we continue to allow this rhetoric to talk, to be heard. No one's checking them. No one is saying, but I'm saying though, and giving the whole, I don't ever hear anybody over that side talking, why do you feel that you should be able, or you should be the one to talk ill about a company that you've made millions of dollars with, that gave you an opportunity, that your name is forever cemented in the gaming archives of the universe? Why do you feel entitled to the point that, let me bring them down, let me bash them? And they do it when Xbox is at their lowest, when they're at their highest. You can always count on their own saying some slick stuff out of their head. When I look over at Sony and I'm like, the one thing that I can say about that $21 stock, that company tight as hell, man. Remember yesterday when I explained to you, no matter who they put in charge, it must be they must get a tattoo. No games to Xbox. They must, every morning, they must have morning propaganda meetings that Xbox gotta be bad. They must. Company good, Xbox bad. Gotta be. Because there's absolutely, and I'm glad Matt didn't say any. You see, this is the reason why I like Matt, and this is the reason why I affectionately call him a shooter. Mac did not say PlayStation name at all. He said other platforms. However you want to take it, you could take it there. He said other platforms. Keep the energy that your ops keeps for you. Focus like they do. You see, 50 Laws of Power and also Sun Tzu's Book of War, manifesto, if you will. Study thy enemy. Know thy enemy like you know thyself. Because you'll be better off, you'll be better to predict the enemy's movements based upon the knowledge that you've gained. And for some reason, these dudes get it wrong. When you leave, same respect that you had when you came in the door. Because there's still people in that building that was there when you were there. What do you think that does? It's insane. But there's other good things that's happening over at Microsoft, and I like this part. This is the part that I care about. I work with Hip Hop Gamer. That's my business partner. He has the Get Money Gaming League. He also has Game Breakers. And these programs is geared to teaching children the importance of gaming. And through gaming, you can achieve anything. Now, going to school, getting paid, we run a program where children actually play video games and get paid. Bro, I would have been an A+ student in that class. And the students that I do have in that class, and yes, I do teach them. The students that I do teach in that class are some of the best students in the world. Quiet, studious, focused, respectful, appreciative, all the stuff that Microsoft execs aren't. Well, former employees aren't. But this came across my timeline. Best Buy Foundation presents Xbox Game Camp in Minneapolis. Now, I know that they do game camp all over the place, but this is, it just came across my timeline. And I just want to highlight this. If you're in Minneapolis and you know about it, you didn't know about it, I'm just putting you up on game. And I'm putting you up on game all across the world. If you happen to have a Best Buy, you can go down to your local Best Buy and try to figure out if game camp is going to come to your city, your town, or your state. Because this is valuable. This is where you actually learn the ins and outs of the industry. This is what I'm talking about with giving back. This is fostering the next generation of developers at the earliest levels. Xbox Game Camp in Minneapolis is coming to Best Buy Teen Tech Centers in June. The immersive learning program will bring together 50 participants ages 18 and 19. Participants will experience key aspects of game development life cycles from concept to playable prototype. So you all know that your Xboxes are development kits, right? You can pay $20 to put it in development mode. That is giving you a leg up in the industry that Nintendo nor Sony gives you. Remember when all that big stuff was happening and dudes was talking about, oh, development kits and Xbox is charging X amount of dollars for development kits? That was all a smokescreen. Xbox gives out development kits. Those ID at Xbox developers, a lot of them get the first 2 development kits for free. Development kits that is worth like $5,000. But that's the reason why it has extra RAM and different stuff. But if you're developing a game, you can turn your Xbox, your series consoles, into a development kit. For 25 years, Xbox has empowered game developers of all sizes, and today Xbox Game Camp announces the first of its kind partnership that brings immersive learning experiences to 50 aspiring creators ages 18 and 19 to 19. With Xbox Game Camp Minneapolis presented by Best Buy Foundation, the Game Camp in Minneapolis runs from June 15th to September 3rd, 2026 for the best Teen Tech Center participants in the Twin Cities and surrounding areas. Designed to empower future wave game creators, and the program offers 12 weeks of tailored learning, community building, and direct mentorship from experts across Microsoft and Xbox, plus local support from each participating Teen Tech Center. We know how crucial it is for young people to have access to technology, real-world experience, and mentorship to set them up for future careers, Olivia Jefferson, Vice President of Social Impact at Best Buy. Best Buy couldn't be more excited to partner with Xbox and create such an amazing opportunity to empower the next generation of game creators. Listen, I'm around a ton of developers, and I ask them all the time, how did you get to this? How did you get into this space? What was it that helped you, or what was everybody needs help? This level of help, especially coming from Xbox home team, helping out the youth. Think about it. What was you doing when you was 18 and 19 years old? You was either going to college or in college, and you were saying, I don't know what the hell to do with my life. I have to pick a major that I probably may not major in. I don't know if I'm going to have enough money to cover my loans after the fact. I don't know if I can live on campus. I might have to get another. All these things are running through your head. And as a team, this opportunity comes your way. Listen, I was told video games was going to be nothing but the devil. And I was told that you can make nothing out of video games. And I understand it was a different time for my moms back then. I don't use that same language with my kids. Actually, I know video games foster good problem solving, learn how to bond socially, builds different levels of character, decision making. It helps you in many different areas. Cognition, recognition of things, hand-eye coordination, calculation, learning how to articulate things properly, and also learning how to act. Because if you're watching RPGs and how they're acting and stuff like that, you may catch an acting bug or something. But regardless to what, gaming is essential for children's growth. And I believe so. Because we're all here. And we're all here for video games. So Xbox doing that made me say, yo, I got to highlight it. I got to talk about it on the show, because if I don't talk about it, I'll be disingenuous to myself. Now, one thing I can't stand, and one thing I won't stand for, is this monster. GameSir unveils the Tarantula, proper name, Pro, for Xbox and PC, described as the best Xbox controller in symmetry. Who the hell did that? Who the hell did that? Who the hell did that? Who bastardized my Xbox controller and said, we like our thumbs to look at each other? I like offset thumbs. You heard me? You know who also likes offset thumbs? Nintendo. You know who got it right? Xbox. You know who got it wrong? PlayStation. You know that's the reason why I hate picking up my PlayStation controller? Because of this stupid thumbsticks. I heard that one of my fellow content creators had a problem with the Xbox controller. I got to watch that video, because they're coming for you, man. Now, I'm not going to say who you are, because if they don't know, I won't lead them to you. But I'm going to tell you, we learned a lot today from Matt Booty. Matt Booty did the absolute best job that he possibly could. And I'm not going to hold you. I was proud of Matt. Matt slipped up a couple of times by letting you know that Blizzard was working with Fable and all this other stuff, but they're interchanging technologies throughout all developers, and that is very key. That is where the magic absolutely happens. But the biggest takeaway from that whole interview was that he let you know that first-party hardware is being done in the building, and that all of Xbox Studios will have a crack at the machine as soon as it comes online. They also said that they are working hand in hand with the engineers to make everything that an engineer and developer wants. I think this is going to be the premium device that we all been looking for. I think it's going to be the one ring to rule them all. I think it's actually going to be what we've all been asking for. Now, with PlayStation doing their launcher, and remember, you heard it from here. If they don't do a launcher, come back to me, come at me. But when they do, I want you to pull up. I told you that Xbox is doing a show a month, and you guys would rather hear it from somebody else. But tomorrow they're having their next show. Metro 2039 is going to be shown, going to be deep dived, and going to be talked about. And again, 4 months in, 4 shows in. Next month, new show. Well, January, February, March, April, 4, May, new show. I know what it's going to be about. Can't talk about it, but it's going to be a show next month. Then June, you know the June show. Then July, you know the July show. August is going to be what? Gamescom. Then you have Tokyo Game Show. That's in end of September. Then you have October show. And then you have the December show, or the November show, which will be right after, the Game Awards. And then you have the December show. So around those whole times, you got a show. Every month. They have too much. It's too much games. It's too much content. It's too much hardware. It's the reason why the thumbnail is titled Too Much. Because Matt Booty is overseeing more than 30 plus developers and studios, mapping out just this year. And he's struggling not to let a game slip out his pie hole. Next month, we have the State of Decay beta. Or is it pre-alpha? Whatever the hell. I think it's a pre-alpha. Yeah, the pre-alpha is next month. And the beta is right after that, I guess. If you're in the Discord, then you jumped in. Make sure that you get inside to play the game. I'm not playing any NDA games right now. I am so happy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go play some more Replace, because I'm having a damn good time with it right now. And I wish my progress transferred over to Hades 2. I'm starting from scratch. Cross progression, cross saves must be mandatory. I've had that game for so long on Steam. Now I'm starting over on Xbox. But that's Game Pass for you, baby. So I'm going to do what you should try to do. What you should be doing is I'm going to go where game is game and win is win. And I'm going to try to play the Game Pass. But before you play the Game Pass, I told you, I make the best intros in the building. And if anybody thinks somebody got a better intro than mine, then put them up.
What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game, but shoot what said as you claim it. It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talking, no riddling, moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the sea, you know that it's scorching. What's a man or a king? What's it a saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game, but shoot what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from. I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from. I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
What's a man or a king?